Takže super, že ste sa pripojili, že ste si našli čas na tento úžasný webinár zo StudyCare. Táto prezentácia bude trvať približne 30 minút. Ako môžete vidieť, Nortie je pripojená. Je to tá slečna, ktorá má pustenú kameru. Nortie bola s nami na veľtrhu Gaudeamus v Brne, kde ste mali možnosť vidieť, porozprávať sa. Predpokladám, že veľa z vás nadchla tým, čo vám porozprávala, ale veľa z vás nemalo šancu sa s Nortie porozprávať. Takže sme si dohodli takýto webinár, kde vám povie extra veci o AVANS. AVANS je úplne úžasná iPlacajen škola v Holandsku. Je to 10 rokov po sebe ohodnotená najlepšia iPlacajen škola, čiže cca 30 minút bude rozprávať všetko o AVANS, teda myslím, že sa aspoň pokusí. A pokiaľ vám nezodpovie na tie vaše pripravené otázky alebo to, čo vás zaujíma najviac, tak určite využite Nortie. They are well informed. I told them how amazing you are and how you're gonna provide them with all the answers. Now I'm gonna switch off my camera. And yeah, it's yours. So enjoy it.
Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for putting zero pressure on me this afternoon. But welcome, everybody. I'm glad to see that you all found the time to join me today. My name is Noortje. I am working for AVANS University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands. And I'm a student advisor, mainly helping the international students that are looking to find the right fit at our university. So today I will be speaking about our English study programs, but also some practical matters regarding studying in the Netherlands. Can be about admission, about tuition fees, funding, housing, visa application, if that applies to you. So if you have any specific questions, now is the time. Feel free to either drop them already in the chat, and we will get to those at the end of this session. I understand that we are having a mix of students today. Some of you already made up your mind maybe about studying abroad. Some of you are maybe still deciding what is the right choice for you. But if you are considering the Netherlands as your study destination, there's a few good facts to keep in mind. First and foremost, the quality of the education is very high in the Netherlands. There's a lot of programs that you can choose from in English. At the moment, there are more than 2,100 study programs on a bachelor and master level that we teach in English. So you would say there is something for everybody. If you want to study in the Netherlands, don't worry about being able to speak Dutch. You can perfectly manage yourself inside the university, but also outside with only English. Of course, we do appreciate it if you learn a few Dutch words or a few Dutch lines, but it's definitely not needed to make your way around the Netherlands. Other than that, the Netherlands is known to be very innovative and creative. You will also see that reflected in a lot of the study programs. It's very centrally located, so if you decide to study in the Netherlands, you also have plenty of options to explore other cities in Europe, like neighboring countries, very well connected, so it's easy to hop on a train or a plane or a bus to see other nice capital cities close by. Without getting too technical today, I do quickly want to highlight some important information about the Dutch educational system. If you're looking to study in the Netherlands, you will find that there is two types of universities, or actually three. One is the University of Applied Sciences. That is what AVANS is. It means that we prepare you for certain professions, or bachelor programs are very much geared to the professional field, and we work a lot on giving you practical skills. In a research university, you can also study several topics, and as the name already tells, it's slightly more focused on conducting scientific research. It's in an academic and more theoretical setting if you pursue a bachelor program there. And there's university colleges. They also provide bachelor programs. It's similar to what you may know from the American system, where you can compose a bachelor program with a focus on science, social science, and humanities. After completing a bachelor degree in any of those three types of universities in the Netherlands, you can pursue with a master's degree. You can pursue this master's degree in the Netherlands, but also abroad, because your degree that you obtain in the Netherlands is always internationally acknowledged. If you decide that you want to carry on with a master program in the Netherlands, you will most likely end up at a research university, because the majority of the master programs is being taught in research universities in the Netherlands. If you come from a University of Applied Sciences, you will have to do a pre-master in some cases, because you will have to brush up on your academic research skills in order to be able to keep up in a research university. So That's just a quick mention. It's probably still far away, a master's program, but then at least you know what your options are and what possible routes may look like. Then we're coming down to an introduction of AVANS University of Applied Sciences. Here you see our main campus building in Breda. But as you will see from this infographic, we have actually multiple buildings spread over multiple different campus cities. To be complete, 4 different campus cities. However, the cities Breda and the city 's-Hertogenbosch are most relevant for international students because these are the campuses where we teach our English-style bachelor and master programs. We are a big university, so we have over 35,000 students, among which are a little under 1,000 international students. So the international community is relatively close-knit, but it also means that it's quite easy to make Dutch and international friends across programs. The student population is quite diverse. We have over 80 different nationalities. One of the reasons for this diversity is that we also have a lot of exchange programs which are incorporated into the study programs, which means that we do welcome international students into the program, but we also offer our own students the opportunity to study a semester at another country in one of our 250 partner schools, which at the moment are spread over 50 different countries. Then I briefly mentioned the ranking. I know that a lot of students that are looking for options abroad look into the ranking to find out what is a good university or what is the best university. It is something to take into consideration, but I definitely want to reassure you that it's not the most important factor for your decision making. Generally speaking about the Netherlands, you really cannot choose a bad university. The quality of all the study programs across all universities is very high. So it's very important that you do eventually choose a university and a study program where you feel this is the right fit for you. That being said, we are very proud that AVANS has been named the best large university of applied sciences in the Netherlands for the past 11 years. And we are mainly proud of this achievement because the ranking committee that allocates these rankings or carries out these rankings does focus on the feedback of the current students, the students that have graduated from our university, and also even the feedback from the employers, so the companies that hire our students after graduation. So that really shows and reflects on the quality of the education and the skills that you will obtain if you study in our university. Here you see a few examples of our campus facilities. Like I said, we have multiple campus buildings and in multiple campus cities, and in every city we also have multiple campus buildings. So depending on the study program that you choose, you will be most likely in one more or less fixed study environment in one city. Sometimes you will have to commute between buildings, which is normally just a quick walk or even a very short bike ride, but you will never have to commute between campus cities. Some more examples of our facilities, independent of where you end up studying, in which city and in which campus building, you will always have great access to great facilities. Whether you want to study or prepare for your assignments or your projects, there's a lot of study spaces where you can study in groups or individually. You have access to research laboratories if you decide to study either our engineering or environmental science program. So you really have everything at hand in the campus buildings to succeed in your preparation and in your studies. Moving on to a few good reasons why you should consider studying at AVANS. I would say the international focus, our practice-based education, and the personal approach. With international focus, we do not only mean that you will become part of an international community of students and lecturers, but they also bring in their own personal international experience or even work experience to the classroom, which makes it a very dynamic environment. Everything you study in the study programs always centers around internationally operating organizations to really give you this global outlook on your professional field. Next to that, there's always room for international study trips, and we do pay a lot of attention to intercultural communication skills and intercultural communication and awareness so that you actually learn how to work together with students and lecturers from all around the world, which is always a great asset if you end up working in an international environment. Practice-based education, you have heard me say it already a few times. This actually means that a lot of the course content centers around interaction, teamwork, problem solving. It's very much learning by doing. You will never simply be sitting in a lecture hall listening to a lecturer explain you something just to come back to make the exam. Everything that is being taught to you is actually being taught with the aim that you learn how to apply it on real-life cases, so that you actually get problem-solving skills that are very useful when you end up working in your first jobs, or even more important, in your first internship and graduation internship. In every study program at AVANS, there is 1 year dedicated out of the 4 years to practical experience. So this means that you have 2 semesters, so 2 times 6 months that you spend outside the university to figure out what it is that you like, to figure out what it is that you want to do, to really get some hands-on experience while you're still in your studies. This also gives you a head start. By the time that you graduate, you already have 1 year of practical working experience that you can put on your resume, and this really helps you when you start looking for your first job. Last but not least, the personal approach. You heard me say that we are quite a big university. However, our study programs are spread over 11 schools or faculties. So within the study program that you choose, you will be part of a smaller community where you have closer ties with your fellow students and the lecturers. In the Netherlands in general, the interaction with the lecturers is very informal. With a lot of them, you will even be on a first name basis. They have an open door policy where you can just pop in their office if you have any questions or if you have anything that you want to discuss. They're very easily accessible. And next to that, all the students get assigned a personal mentor. And this is your go-to person, first and foremost, for your academic development, but also if you have any personal questions or personal issues, he or she is the one that you go to, and they help you out, and they remain your mentor throughout your study period at AVANS. Then we're coming down to the actual study programs that we teach in English. So we have environmental science for sustainability, ecosystems, and technology. It's quite a long name, so we normally abbreviate it to ASSET. We have industrial engineering and management. We have our business programs in finance and control, and we have 2 business programs in international business. Don't mistake them to be the exact same programs, just in a different location. They also have a slightly different focus, but a very different approach when it comes to their teaching style and how they work together within the program. But I'll show you in a few slides. So starting off with environmental science, or ASSET, it's a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Sciences. So it has its origin in courses or natural sciences and courses like chemistry, biology, geography, a little bit of ecology, but you don't study these topics in the traditional way, but you learn how to apply them on environmental issues. So courses that you can think of can be related to water management, but also environmental law and policy making, risk analysis, microbiology, a little bit of chemistry. So you get to see all the different elements that you need to become an all-round environmental science engineer. It's a very strong educational model, so you get to see all the different elements, and it offers you a lot of different routes upon graduation for you to pursue. Can be either more corporate as a sustainability consultant, can be more on the level of policy making, but also can be more in the field of working as a research analyst in a laboratory, for instance. Industrial engineering and management, like the name already tells, is a combination between engineering on the one hand and management on the other hand. It's not a hardcore engineering course only. You will need to understand the technical processes of, let's say, maintenance in big technical installations, such as drilling platforms, airplane, or in automotive industries. And the management part really centers around engineering processes. So you learn how to do cost projections, you learn how to do a risk analysis, like until when can you postpone maintenance, until when can you carry out maintenance, and when do you need to renew or replace the assets in the company. It also has an interdisciplinary approach, and in this particular program in the Netherlands, we are based in the south, which is the region that centers around high-tech and engineering companies. So with this degree, you will be certain to finding a job in the Netherlands, but also at different places around the world. Our business program, so this is the one in finance and control. This is a program that is really suitable for students that like to work with numbers. They have a strong analytical mind. You like to do projections, estimations, calculations. However, don't worry, you will not only be working with numbers. Financial information is often seen as very complex information in an organization. So being good with numbers is one part of the program, but it's also very important that you can translate that information to an understandable message for stakeholders in your organization, so that they actually know what it means if you do make more profit or you make less profit or you make a certain investment decision. It's also very much focusing on your business skills and your business communication skills. In this program, you have the opportunity to do a double degree. And that means that you study 2 years in the Netherlands and 2 years in Hungary. And by the time that you graduate, you also get a double degree. So one from the Dutch institution and one from the Hungarian one. So that also gives you a head start on the job market. Moving on to our business programs, like I said, we have two. So there are some similarities, but are definitely also some differences between the two programs. This is the one in our campus in 's-Hertogenbosch. By the time that you graduate in 4 years, you obtain a Bachelor of Business Administration. That is the same for the program in Breda. However, this program has a focus on marketing, communication, and sales. And what is very different in this perspective is that the program works with individual learning paths. So it means that you create your own individual learning trajectory based on the courses that you want to study, the skills that you want to develop. So it's very flexible and it requires a lot of thinking and planning ahead on your end, because you need to think what kind of courses you want to study. So after every semester, 6 months, you make a new choice for the courses that you want to study in the upcoming semester. You study everything in English. You can study additional languages next to English. You can choose from Spanish, French, German, and Dutch. And you don't have to limit yourself to one language. You can study multiple languages. You can study them at the same time, or you can decide to take on a different language every semester or every year. Moving on to the one in Breda, the focus of this program is slightly different. They focus. I saw I was muted for a little bit. This one focuses on subjects like marketing, finance, and management, and the structure of this program is fixed. So in comparison to the other international business program, you know exactly from year 1 to year 4 what courses you will take in what semester and in what order. So you don't have to think about the structure. You will get to see courses about marketing, sales, supply chain management, management accounting, foreign languages, all the different elements that you need to be able to do business on a global scale. And this program also has a double degree possibility. Again, 2 years in the Netherlands and 2 years abroad. You have a few options here when it comes to the dual degree. It means that you can go to Mexico, to France, to Germany, or to Italy. If you decide to do a double degree, it also means that those 2 years abroad, you will study in the language of the country and the university that you have chosen. So you will become fluent in another language, but you also need to have sufficient level beforehand so that you can actually carry on with your course abroad in that specific language. Then we're coming down to practical information, costs, procedures, anything that you want to know in terms of practicalities and feasibility. So if you're planning to start your studies in the Netherlands in September 2023, that's the first upcoming intake, the tuition fees are set for €2,314 for students with an EU or EEA citizenship. In the first year, you only pay 50%. In the second, the third, and the fourth year, you pay the full amount. If you have a non-EU citizenship, then the tuition fees are higher. They are set for €8,852 per academic year for September 2023 intake. The reason for this difference is that universities in the Netherlands receive subsidy from the European Union for all EU citizens that study in Europe. However, if you are a non-EU citizen, this subsidy doesn't apply, and therefore the tuition fees are higher. Cost of living, to give you a rough estimation, but it really depends on your living style and also especially on what type of accommodation you will be able to secure. Housing or rent will vary between €475 and €600. It depends really on the location and the type of room that you have. Can be a bit more, can be a bit less. Insurance, for instance, if you want to take on a student job in the Netherlands, you are required to take out Dutch health insurance. You would have to estimate around €90 a month. Groceries, 250, again, depends a little bit on your lifestyle. If you're an EU citizen, you are entitled to financial support from the Dutch government, and there's two parts at the moment. You have a loan system, so it's not the same as a scholarship or a grant. But you take out a student loan for your living expenses or your tuition fees or both. You get this money in your bank account on a monthly basis and you spend it as you see fit. However, after graduation, you will have to pay it back. You have 2 years to find a job, start earning an income, and then you start paying back gradually with monthly installments. Second part is called student finance. If you take on a student job for 56 hours a month, you can get an additional grant. So this will be converted into a gift. Again, you spend the money as you see fit, and this will be converted into a grant if you graduate within 10 years after starting your studies at AVANS. The only additional requirement is that you need to take on a student job for 56 hours a month, which is quite strict and can also sometimes be quite challenging. If you're a student with a full-time study load, and at the same time, student jobs are often on an on-call basis. So when it's busy, there's a lot of hours that you can work. However, when it's quiet, you're also the first one that they send home. Application deadlines, there's also a difference between EU and non-EU students. Non-EU 1st of June because of a visa application procedure that sometimes can take quite some time. EU students 1st of August. I would recommend to apply earlier. The sooner the better, I would say, because that leaves you more time to submit all the documents, do the intake, take all the necessary steps. There's no application fee involved. There's no fee involved if you cancel your application, and tuition fees you will only pay after your first month in university. So there's no financial risk in this regard for you if you decide to apply, even if you're not 100% sure. Camille and his team are our official partner. They are very well informed about the procedures and all the rules and regulations, so they can also always assist you with your application. For your information, the 6 application steps in the procedure are registration via StudyLink. That's an online registration. There you choose the university and the program of your preference. Hopefully it's going to be AVANS. If that's the case, it means that we get a notification of your application and we will ask you to upload the required documents. I will show you in a little bit what those documents are. If we see based on those documents that you meet the admission criteria, then we invite you for our online intake assessment and an interview. It's a mandatory part of the application procedure, so you will have to complete it. However, the advice coming out of this intake procedure is not binding to final admission. So let's say you get a negative advice after you have completed the intake, but you are still convinced that this is the right choice for you, then you can carry on with your application at AVANS. Then the practical preparation actually already starts. You can start looking for a house in the Netherlands. You might want to take out insurance, or at least check if you are sufficiently covered at home or need to take an additional coverage. We invite you for our introduction days at the university. I would highly recommend to attend. It's always twofold. On the one hand, it's practical. We help you settle in, register at City Hall, set up a Dutch bank account if you need one, explain where to find your timetables, where to find your assignments. You get, access to all the advanced computer systems. And at the other hand, it's also social. So you get to meet up with your fellow students, do some nice social and fun activities already. So you make a few friends before you start with the actual study program. There's a few things that you can only arrange upon arrival in the Netherlands, such as your registration at City Hall and also opening a Dutch bank account. So that's the only thing that you actually cannot do before you arrive in the Netherlands. Application documents, again, Camille and his team, they are perfectly aware of what your documents need to look like and what it should contain, but we need a copy of your school diploma or any other certificate that you have obtained prior. We need a transcript of records or a grades list, a copy of either an ID card or a passport, whatever you have. In some cases, we might need proof of your English language proficiency. It's not always the case, so do check if you maybe qualify for an exemption, because it would be a pity if you take the official test for no reason. Birth certificate for registration at City Hall. It's not something that you need to upload, but you need to bring an official copy to the Netherlands because you will need it for the registration at City Hall. So that's why it's listed here, but it's marked in red. Coming down to a very important topic is housing. If you want to study in the Netherlands, it also means that you need a place to stay in the Netherlands. It is very challenging in all parts of the Netherlands to find student accommodation, simply because there's more demand than we have on offer. Luckily, the university does provide a number of rooms to new incoming international students every year. However, I must also admit there's always less rooms than new incoming international students, and the rooms are more or less allocated on a first-come, first-served basis. So it might happen that you are one of the lucky ones and you can actually book a room via the university and, you can start your academic year stress-free. However, it might also happen that you cannot rent a room via the university. And if that's the case, you will need to look for accommodation on your own, which is not impossible, but it's really something that you need to put a lot of time and effort in because you're still based at home. You have a physical distance to the Netherlands, so it's difficult to, do viewings and find connection with people that are renting or subletting rooms. The international office can definitely assist and help you with what are reliable partners, what are reliable websites, how to go about it. But the main responsibility for finding accommodation is in your hands. The best advice that I can give you is really be on time with everything, follow up with email communication when it's about housing via the university, because that's the easiest and stress-free way to start your studies. But again, if you need to look for accommodation on your own, let us know that you're looking, because we can always keep our eyes and ears open, see if there's any additional rooms becoming available. But then we need to know, of course, that you're still searching for a room. So don't let it scare you off, but just be aware that it's an additional challenge in your journey to starting with your study in the Netherlands. Luckily, there's more to life than only studying. The campus cities where AVANS is based are very vibrant cities. In both cities, you will find multiple universities. So this means that there's a lot of young people living and studying there. So there's also a lot of activities being organized by and for students where you can actually find like-minded students, if you share a common interest, or if you really like to, party together or meet fellow internationals or meet people that are in similar study groups. There's a lot of ways to connect and to make friends. One of these options, of course, is student associations. They are linked to the university, but there's also one that is across universities, such as ESN, Erasmus Student Network. There you can connect with all the internationals in a certain city. We're coming down to the end of this presentation. If you want to explore more, see more options, see a little bit more in-depth information of the study programs, next month we have our online trial sessions. These are virtual classes that we offer to you, where you can actually get a taster of what it is like to study any of our courses. We have a new orientation webinar coming up on May 10th. You will see me there as well, but just briefly highlighting the practical side of it. And then we break out in a few rooms, or in a few rounds actually, where lecturers of every program give quite an extensive and detailed presentation about the course content, the course outline, what can you do for your internship, what can you think of for an exchange program, with what companies are they working together. So you get a very deep dive into the content of the program. And don't forget to check out the Meetups page. You will always see our latest upcoming events or other ways to connect either abroad in your home country or in the Netherlands. If you want to hear more from our students that are currently studying in our study programs, we have a nice group of ambassadors. They have a small profile on the website with their contact details. You can always reach out to them via social media, via email. Ask them any questions, ask them for tips and tricks when it's about housing, when it's about whatever you may want to hear from an actual student expert. I would say rely on their inputs. And if you want to take the time to go over all the topics I highlighted this afternoon, we have a nice international e-magazine ready for you, where you can find similar and some more elaborate information on the stuff that I talked about this afternoon.